Adjutant online.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Friday edition of the GGVision StarCraft 2 Coliseum here on the map Crevasse with oGsZenio, a Korean Zerg that we've come to know and love and fear, versus his countryman PoltPrime. Players we've seen in the GSL numerous times. Lately, PoltPrime, who's been up in the Code S, but also been bumped down to the Code A. Recently, he defeated oGsMC, perhaps the best player in the world, some say, in a 2-0 victory, and climbed a bit higher in the GSL because of that. And oGsZenio, of course, I remember him from the early days of the first GSL, I believe it was, when he had bright red hair and defeated IdrA in a quite memorable game using the Overseer's Contaminate ability in a very abusive fashion. That was fun. In either case, we've also seen him in the North American Star League. He was one of the first Korean Zerg invites to that tournament, and is performing quite well there, I do believe. So this is a very fun player, and his way of playing Zerg, I'm always partial to Zerg players, I admit that freely, is indeed aggressive yet surgical. So most definitely we'll see a fun game here on Crevasse, which is one of the best maps ever made. It is somewhat smaller than Tal'Daram Altar, but not by much. This is by all means an incredibly huge map, and it lends itself well to the best games that StarCraft 2 can provide. Here we see them in the closest starting positions, which is of course still very far away, and with all the various destructible debris, or as QXC has called them, Pandora's rocks. Yes, on this edition of Crevasse, these rocks are named by question marks only, which has made them being dubbed Pandora's rocks. But anyhow, we see Zenio going for a quick expansion here in this sort of protected but not as lucrative expansion here, that is guarded by his one choke, whereas PoltPrime chooses to wall in first and go for his expansion later. Spawning pool already up, and now collecting the 100 gas he needs for quick metabolic boost for his Zerglings, all very good and well and standard. Zenio has yet to scout his opponent PoltPrime, but Polt is now up in Zenio's business, finding out exactly what he's doing. So what will we see here? Well, bio play, there is infantry, marauder, marines, of course, has been very common in this matchup, I'd say. The huge mobility that such an army composition provides is definitely a strong asset on a map as huge and as crooked as this one, because you have to go in these long-winded corridors all over the place, whereas the Zerg player by nature is generally very mobile. So we'll probably see an infantry-based army out of PoltPrime, as he's now taking his own protected expansion. These players are definitely StarCraft 2 celebrities and pros, in the sense that in the Western world, outside of Korea, we've only recently begun to see individuals. Of course, in the Brood War setting, Korea already had an established infrastructure and social acceptance of pro gaming as a legitimate and indeed rock star-like vocation, and that has only recently begun to happen in the StarCraft world, with StarCraft 2 here in Europe, North America, and also other places of the world. So these two Korean pro gamers, they are definitely leading the charge, and with programs and the shows like the GSL over at comtv.net, they are representing the subculture that is becoming more and more mainstream. So it's always fun to see them being featured outside of the Korean setting. And obviously Zenio going for a Baneling nest. Let's see if he goes for quick speed or if he'll go for perhaps some sort of drop action. Meanwhile, we have 4 Hellions of PoltPrime moving into Zenio's base. We'll be able to roast these Zerglings without much problem, providing he has superior micro, but he's close to getting pinned in, and then the Zerglings can easily pick them up. One goes down, two, and indeed he captures them by taking very minimal losses. Sure, he killed 11 Zerglings, but 5 Hellions and no drones killed. That means a win for the Zerg player, and now he's out on the hunt, managing to take 2 more. He might be able to pin them down. Zenio Zergling micro is absolutely impeccable. This definitely puts him well ahead and gives him serious map control. Yes, indeed, it seems like if these Hellions will get away, they will certainly not be able to inflict any damage onto Zenio's economy. This is a major victory for our Zerg player, and that's just beautiful Zergling micro. It may look that PoltPrime just is wasting these Hellions away, but I can believe you, he is microing his ass off to no avail, because Zenio, he's just a baller. I thought he lost some of his magic when he dyed his hair black again, but it seems like it had nothing to do with it. He's definitely very skilled. Now, actually being almost, yes, taking out 1 more Hellion while sacrificing these Zerglings, and roasting a tree while at it. Now we see 3 barracks and 1 factory up, 1 factory that will soon have a tech lab on it. We'll see if that, sorry, make that 4 barracks. So that infantry build I was talking about seems to be underway. Stimpack upgrade is half finished, and over at Zenio, he has not yet researched Baneling speed and seems to have cancelled something that I missed, but Evo Chamber and Spire is going up. So Baneling Mutalisk Zergling, a very versatile combination, and indeed on a map as large as this one you need mobility, because the Terran will be going for as mobile an army as it gets, and that will of course be much more heavier and deadlier than the Zerg opponents, at least until the late game when he can get Broodlords up. So he needs to be more mobile, more harass focused than what the Terran player can be. He will of course be using Medivac drops and everything like that. Zenio now going to his 3rd expansion, and I wouldn't mind seeing him go for a double expansion at this rate, trying to capitalize on his current map control before Zenio is pushed back by the Terran mid-game assault that is destined to come. And we now see PoltPrime setting up defenses against the inevitable Mutalisk attack. We see 11 of them being produced already, and looking at the units tab, it seems like indeed Zenio is going very heavy on the Mutalisk. He has not yet begun Baneling production, only got 16 Zerglings as of yet. Income wise, we have 38 drones to the 42 harvesters of Zenio, who's of course well saturated on his 2 bases. Looks like Zenio will try to make some more drones very rapidly. Now starting to creep spread like a boss. He could have begun that a bit earlier, I must say. Now going for weapons level 1 on his air forces, and here we have the first attack. Seems like it's being warded off by 1 turret. And now also going for Baneling speed does Zenio, so he will try to combat the infantry with little Baneling bombs, and we always enjoyed to see that happening, no matter who we're cheering on. Other than that, Zenio goes also for what we call a macro hatchery here in his main base. With double queenage, he can dish out units such as Zerglings for Baneling production very fast. Now we see the Baneling production going underway, 11 of them being constructed right now, and this is the mid-game push timing that both players have been rushing towards. They all want to, both want to have the upper hand, when to expand, when to maximize the economy, here breaking down the Pandora's rocks, and when to start building attacking units. We saw that yesterday when Dimaga faced Dystar. He had not yet got enough attacking units up when the Terran player Dystar's push began, and that made him lose the game. So we'll just have to see what Zenio can do now. Banelings are of course a very different thing, and they can definitely turn the tide of battle immediately. It's all about micro and positioning at this point, and the Zerglings are being melted by these overstim marines, but they are getting thinned out, and this one siege tank seems to be somewhat out of place, and here comes the Mutalisks. They are now very able to kill these lone siege tanks. These marines are out of position, and one siege tank here should go down in seconds. But here the second wave of the push begins. And looking at the units tab, we have 9 Zerglings and 23 Zerglings and 9 Mutalisks, I mean. But the third base of Zenio is under attack. He's forced to evacuate the drones. And here comes the pincer attack. No, Zenio pulls back and the hatchery is down. If Zenio cannot retaliate soon or break this push, he will be in a huge disadvantage. Had he had a second expansion, maybe things would have been different. But now we see PoltPrime advancing and Zenio wanting to break down these rocks. They are not favoring him right now. They're causing a funnel. Now PoltPrime is up in the base of Zenio, destroying the creep tumors, destroying the building banelings. This looks bad for our Zerg player from Korea who wants to bet IdrA in such a convincing fashion. But the banelings are crashing. Banelings. But here comes the second push. No siege tanks alive anymore though, just squishy marines, but Zenio concedes and GG's. Here we see the inevitable Terran timing that can be so deadly. You had the banelings, but maybe he should have burrowed them somewhere. Maybe. It's very difficult to combat this. It's all about seconds, about positioning, and having the exact right balance between drones and economy and attacking units. Zenio was never really able to pin back his opponent PoltPrime through Mutalisk harassment in his base, which is what you want to do as a Zerg player. You want to delay this Terran push that is inevitable for as long as you can, so that you can build up an economy and a production infrastructure that is practically unbeatable, so you can just throw cheap units against the Terran. But Zenio didn't have the ability to do so. PoltPrime persevered through the harassment and just pushed and could kill this emerging Zerg king quite convincingly. And I hope you enjoyed this cast. These players are very versatile, and oGsZenio you can see fight in the North American Star League, which I do recommend you checking out and even buying the HD pass for. It's so worth it. You can watch it on demand, commercial free and everything. And well, while at it, if you like this broadcast, feel free to consider subscribing it. I got a new one out practically every day, and it will just keep on coming. So stay tuned to the GGVision StarCraft 2 Coliseum. Thanks for watching. GG for now.